Hey guys, I'm Scotty. This is Jordan. We are WeMovies, and we're going to start discussing Alita: Battle Angel. Jordan thinks this is going to be a quick podcast. I don't.
I'm going to fight for it to be quick. Scotty's probably going to try and make it as long as possible, but we're going to see how we go.
It's tempting on various
levels. We're going
levels.
to see how we go.
I'm hiding behind the microphone. Here's Johnny. Simon, whatever his name is.
Garfunkel. Reeves.
Simon Garfunkel isn't actually a
Coolidge.
person. That's two people.
Oh, shut up, Scott.
I actually think there's a lot to discuss. I actually do. Should we give a brief synopsis? It's hard to give a brief synopsis of Alita.
It is. I'm gonna say, robot wakes up.
Robot? Android?
Android, whatever. She's basically a robot.
They're trying to make us forget she's a robot.
That's the thing. She's not, though.
Okay, let's continue.
Weird. Okay, so the synopsis is a battle.
Angel.
Angel is what they call her. Like a battle angel from the past.
She's a berserker.
She's a berserker. Oh, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
A battle angel from the flying city crash lands in a garbage dump. She gets picked up by a doctor who repairs her and teaches her the ways of this city that they live in, which is built off of a
then
garbage
she
dump.
gets misguidedly sidetracked by
everything. Everything.
But mostly unimportant character number one, Robert Rodriguez's double.
Yes, so the cast list for this, okay, first of all, it is directed by Robert Rodriguez. It is produced by James Cameron.
Yeah, no, we should say it's directed by Robert Rodriguez with lots of influence from James Cameron.
Yeah.
That's not to say it isn't Rodriguez's movie, because there's a lot of Rodriguez moments, but there's a lot of James Cameron moments.
It's the worst of Rodriguez with the worst of Cameron.
Yes.
And they've jumbled this all together, and it's just the worst.
I mean, that's the best review we can possibly give it.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. It's the worst of Rodriguez and the worst of James Cameron. Okay, so it's produced by James Cameron, John Landau. It's from a screenplay by James Cameron.
Yeah.
He wrote this?
Yep.
What?
He half wrote it. It's someone else as well.
Laeta Kalogridis.
Based on Gunnan.
Yes.
The manga. I'm not certain.
Okay, this Laeta Kalogridis, she also... Interesting. She also wrote Bionic Woman.
Wait, that television series that failed terribly?
Yeah. She also... Dude.
Okay.
She also wrote Alexander.
Oh my goodness.
Your favorite movie, your favorite historical movie, Alexander.
So Alexander is hilarious for two reasons. One, it's one of the most accurate historical portrayals of a character. It's also one of the worst written screenplays of all time.
Oh no, she wrote the script for Terminator Genesis as well.
Ginny size.
Oh no. And she did Altered Carbon, which was great for the first half, but the last 3 episodes were trash. Okay. That's such a shame.
Is she a fling of James Cameron? Because I'm just trying to, like, are they...
Are they together? Are they dating?
Is there something happening under the pillows?
I don't know.
Under the pillows.
I don't know. But it's based on Gundam by Yukito Kishiro, which is a classic manga and became an anime.
Yes, like most do.
Yep. And this film stars Rosa Salazar in one of her first leading roles, Christoph Waltz, who's a classic, Jennifer Connelly, who I was confused by, Mahershala Ali, also I was confused by, shut up, Ed Skrein, which is nice to see him in something, but it's just it's sad that it's this.
It was fun. Actually, he was amusing.
He had the most fun, I'll say, out of the whole cast. I felt like he had the most fun doing what he was doing. Jackie Earl Haley. Sorry, my bad. Jackie Earl Haley. Who is where was he in the movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, show me.
What? Oh, he played the big giant CGI muscle dude. Okay. It's a weird choice.
Yeah. I mean, he was entertaining as well.
He was, but weird choice.
You know, that's the funny thing. So I actually don't mind most of the actors in this movie, although they've got nothing to do. The female lead, I mean...
Ooh. Sorry. I'm just going to go straight into the budget.
Yeah.
$237 million.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of CGI in this movie.
And it's only made $31 million.
Yes. So it's
brutal.
That makes Mortal Engines look like a success.
It does, but it also hasn't gone through a full release yet, so it'll probably
that's
earn
true.
more.
Hang on a sec. Like, if it hasn't gone through, that's probably not that bad then.
No, it isn't.
We got to actually do a preview screening, which...
Yeah, we did. We got to see a preview screening on this Sunday.
Okay, so
I wish I hadn't.
No.
It's expensive, and...
The biggest problem was the other members of the audience. There were some kids sitting right behind us.
I can excuse them because they're kids, but at the same time,
they were
but no, they were actually saying how stupid some of the things were.
Yeah, but the way they were doing it was still annoying.
Oh, yeah, it was really annoying. But like that didn't taint my view of this film whatsoever. I'll tell you what happened for me. Yeah. I think it was half an hour into the film, I checked the time on my smartphone here. And I was very surprised that only half an hour had passed because it felt like 2 hours had gone by. Just painfully.
So we're doing the deep dive.
Okay, we're going to do the deep dive. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't need to do it.
Yay! I don't need to do deep dive. Ah, damn it. Anyway, deep dive. Yeah.
Well, so I think the first thing we should say about this movie is there are a lot of things jammed straight into this movie, which
packed.
It's jam-packed.
Absolutely packed. But the problem is I wouldn't mind it so much
if most of it worked.
But the reason why most of it doesn't work is because every single little thing has to have something to do with the main plot.
Everything needs to be important in its own right.
Yeah, and what happens... Okay, I'm going to explain why that is a bad thing, because some people might be listening or watching this and going, how is that a bad thing? Everything is important. That's awesome. No, it's not, because what happens is when you really want to hit those heavy beats, those emotional beats, those things that make you go and break your heart. Like, give me a film example that does it really well.
Frozen.
Frozen does it. Yeah. I don't know about but it does it. A lot of Disney films do this where, not everything needs to be serious, dramatic, or important in its own right. But when those things actually happen, when something does become serious, when something does become important, it hits harder because in the context of the rest of the film, nothing else has hit as hard as that.
The Favorite is actually a better example.
That is a really good example, actually, which we will be talking about in a forthcoming podcast. But that's what it didn't do right for me, and that undermined whatever they were trying to do. And I think, again, after the first half hour, I just didn't care.
I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a go outlining the general plot of this movie.
You do that.
So Christoph Waltz finds the majority of an android that works. He puts her back together again in his daughter's body? Question mark. Okay.
There's a lot of there's such a lot of exposition in this movie that doesn't work.
The thing is,
overload.
It is overload, but at the same time, it's like it's delivered some of it's delivered well, which is even worse.
Yeah.
It's not like exposition is just this is what happened. Like they'll actually give us proper flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
So Jennifer Connelly's character is who sexually confuses Jordan.
Not sexually. She's really good looking for her age. I will give her that. She's taking care of herself.
I believed her relationship with Mahershala Ali.
Yeah,
even though it was like,
but not with Christoph Waltz.
No,
definitely not with Christoph Waltz. That was weird.
So halfway through the 15 minutes, Christoph Waltz, you can tell he's not 100% committed to this role, and you're questioning why. And you figure out he read the script.
Yeah, he read the script. And along those lines, again, just every single character needs to have some sort of importance to everything. Even, like, there's this little dog that Alita befriends, and we're going through
and then it dies.
And then it gets killed. But
I was like, Robert Rodriguez, you're doing it again.
Yeah, except it was off screen. And it made it such a joke. And then she bends over and she like puts her fingers in the dog's blood and puts them across her face
Rodriguez.
Like this. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? This is borderline just hilarious because of how inappropriately dumb it is.
Okay, I'm going to try and get back to doing the synopsis. Because
I'm sorry.
I was... So she has this rediscovering world thing because she's lost her memories, which is kind of cool. It's got elements of Chappie and a few other things in there.
I don't think it worked.
It didn't work. It doesn't usually work.
She says she's very... This is the
Oranges! Peel, disgusting. Oh, this is how you eat them. It's just dumb.
It's a throwaway.
It's infantile.
It's stupid. It's literally, okay, how can we briefly summarize the fact that she's lost her memory? Well, I like oranges. What if somebody ate an orange without... And it's...
Okay, moving past. Oh, also nurse character, completely just there.
She has like all of 2 lines, but she's in almost
at the
every
same
single scene.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like she should be more important than some of the other characters who actually given lines.
Because we actually have close-ups on her face, her reactions,
and her
to
relationship should actually, I feel, should be important. Anyway, we're getting off track.
But that doesn't
because there's so much other things going on in this movie. That's extraneous. It is. That's so.
Yep.
Then she discovers the sport thing with rollerblades and a ball,
which is actually from the original anime,
and it's kind of cool.
And it is kind of cool.
If that was the whole movie, it'd be fine.
Yeah,
but it's not.
But we keep drifting in and out of that area. We're going. It's like we're going to the bounty hunter side. But it's a sport. But now there's bounty hunters, and now it's a sport.
Is her dad? Is her new father killing people? No, he's trying to stop people being killed by these bad people.
And that felt so cheap because straight away I knew that he wasn't killing anybody. Yeah. Anyone in their right mind would have gone, "Oh, he's not a killer," because
they shot him out
this earlier in the film. You can't expect an audience to believe that this early in the film we're going to set up this father as a murderer.
So then we meet male lead cliche number 1.
Robert
Rodriguez.
Kian Johnson is his name.
Kian Johnson. Now you're going to say I don't blame him for any of this, but I think he's so bland and so bad. And I actually think, even though the script isn't that brilliant, there is enough there that he could work with, that he could deliver a reasonably enjoyable performance. But from the get-go, I just didn't like him. I was never turned around on him.
To be fair, I can see that perspective, and I can also see a lot of mistakes that I would have personally made when I was a much younger actor, very green and very like going through life.
But compared to the male character in Mortal Engines, who was terrible, but I could forgive him.
Yeah. He was giving it his all, whereas in this, man.
Yep.
It's just
But that's the character I have to compare him to, because it's like a bad male lead in a CGI F fest.
That while we're on the topic of that though, I still find it hard to blame him personally for this, because if you're a young actor, if you're a green actor with not a lot of experience, which he doesn't have, first and foremost, and this again. Like, this is why I'm always saying I can't blame actors, because I can go back and say, no, it is the casting director's fault for casting someone who was inexperienced and who didn't know what they were doing. Because at the end of the day, I think if he understood fully what was going on, or if someone even just told him, this is exactly what we need, or if Robert Rodriguez was a director who knew how to speak to his actors, he'd be able to sit down with them and say, this is what we need from you. Do it, or pick someone else. Like that's the biggest problem. And I think the reason why he was hired. This is the reason why he was hired. I believe is he looks so similar to Robert Rodriguez when he was younger.
If we're not putting it on screen right now, I hope we are on the video screen. We're putting up the similarities. But
we're putting it up right now. Here's the similarities.
But check it out yourself. It's just ridiculous.
It's crazy because they do look so similar, from the hair to the build to the height to everything. It's just, and I can't help but think that he tried to put himself into this film as like an ego, narcissistic thing that he's doing.
So he is a newbie, but the thing is, there are actors in this movie that, although it's like Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly,
most of these people are phoning it in.
Most of these people are phoning it in, and yet they still deliver reasonable performances. That's the problem.
But maybe is it because they're phoning it in that they're delivering entertaining performances?
I don't know.
Because I felt out of all of the cast, Jennifer Connelly stood out as a sore thumb for someone who just didn't give a shit.
Yeah. But that was like, once again, it was like Bruce Willis in Glass. It's like it didn't matter because it just suited the role.
Yeah. I get that.
Jennifer Connelly's character is just giving up on stuff. So.
Yeah. That's true.
And that scene, there's a scene where she comes out after the. Okay, let's go back to the synopsis. Male lead character, forced relationship with android, which you're supposed to buy, which never works.
No. No.
And then we get lost in the plot, because the plot is lost. We introduced the bounty hunters, and there's the
Ed Skrein is one of the main bounty hunters, and it's in a scene that's just so derivative and obviously aimed to complete an action sequence, which is such a shame, because the action sequences in this film are actually pretty decently done.
They are the best movie about this, and I'm glad we saw it in 3D, because they are actually filmed for 3D, and I was like, okay, I'm glad. Like, normally 3D pisses me off.
There's some sort of redeeming factor to these action sequences, which I was okay with. but everything supporting these action sequences is wrong.
Yes.
It's poorly
Which
done.
means they fall apart. Once again, good action sequences are based on character moments, which are based on plot. Now, they are based on character moments, and you see the characters through these scenes, but the fact that we don't care enough about these characters because everything else has let them down means that they fall not as high. They don't reach the heights they could.
No. And you were mentioning Mahershala Ali before, and I think he does has a great performance, but the worst part about his character is he's a redundant character until the last 3 minutes of the movie.
So he's meant to be
he's set out to be a big bad.
He's like the video game first villain, and he's actually working for this other guy. But it actually demeans both characters.
Yeah, because he has no choice but to be this villain. Also, I was reading up on the anime and manga, and you can, like, if you're a fan of the anime and manga, please feel free to correct me. I've only had a brief look at some of the synopsises and character
actually,
things.
we'd love you to comment.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. But in the anime and the comics, he isn't a villain. He is just existing in this world in which he has become the top dog. And that's his life. Like, it feels a lot more real.
And he has
that.
He has that stolen line. I'm sure it's a stolen line from somewhere else about rather be the king in hell than a
servant in heaven. Yeah,
which I think
it sounds like a line out of a cheap hip hop rap song,
or
really
like something like from a Diablo henchman or something.
Exactly. It's just it's so. I'm 14 and this is deep.
Yes. That's that's exactly what it is.
It's just that's not good. Like, you can make that work, but this just does not work. It
appropriates cliches from other things.
Yeah,
which unnecessarily, because it's based off something. So just base it off what you're based on.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard.
No,
really. And that's the thing. There were so many changes to this story that felt disingenuous.
We're lost in the plot.
We are lost. The plot is lost anyway. It's
halfway through the movie, the plot doesn't matter anymore. It's just, there's set piece after set piece. And then at the end, it just doesn't care anymore.
Because in a cohesive movie, how there's often one overarching plot point that holds everything together, and then underneath it is subplot, and they all have something to do with the main plot, but not everything to do with it, and they have their own universe, they have their own little world. This film has, I swear, about 4 or 5 major plots that are running at the same time, and it's just information overload, and none of these main plot points feel like actual cohesive plot points. They all feel like subplots that were just increased in importance.
It feels like every subplot wanted to be the main plot.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. And once again, that's the problem. I'm trying to do a synopsis. I can't tell you the main plot line. I guess it is about Alita, who is she's a Martian. Did you know that? She's a Martian.
Yeah, she's a Martian. Which I'm still confused by, because
they never
go into any detail why the Martians were attacking humankind. They never go into any it's all about, it was before the fall, or this before the fall, or the Martians they attack. What do they call it? The
UMA?
UMA? You something?
UMT? Because it's the United Martian Techno Monarchy or something like that?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
It's something stupid. Something stupid. And also, again, if you're a fan of the anime and the manga, I am not judging the anime and manga for the names and stuff that they choose for that, because I'm sure they work in that. But in this film, they do not work.
Okay, so she has this old body, right? And she finds this new body, and she has to put in it. But then she gets in a fight, and her old body gets destroyed, and you're like, of course this is going to happen. The whole time.
As soon as she found that new body, I was like, that body's going to be, she's going to be pummeled in a fight, guaranteed. And of course it happens. And another confusing thing, like, this film treats violence as something to be hidden, almost. Did you notice that? And then
they show it off anyway.
And then they show it off anyway. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't know what they're going for, but at the same time, this film is like, Alita says to the guy, like, she gets pretty much destroyed, and then she just says, "Fuck you," and punches him in the eye. And it's just, it doesn't know what it's doing.
It's an entertaining scene, but
do we commit to being R-rated, or do we commit to being G-rated? And it's kind of like, we're not sure. So every single scene is kind of flipping the coin on what it's trying to be.
Because of the subject matter, I think they want to show certain things, and yet it's one of those things where
it's like someone tried actively to stop them from committing to a lot of those big choices, which is a shame because Robert Rodriguez's best films are known for being exploitative.
Yeah.
And I think that should have been what this film should have been like, is more exploitation, because that is the story of Alita. She's a robot that get exploited by not just the person who adopted her, but also the sporting ring, also the bounty hunter group, also the people in this Sky City, the boss of this. She gets exploited by every single person, and yet the one director who is known for exploiting films doesn't get to direct it the way he probably should have.
Well, that's the thing. Once again, that's why I'm saying it's half James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly.
So
are we officially blaming James Cameron for this?
That's it, because I'm not gonna point the finger directly at him, because I think it's not just him.
Yeah.
I think it is Rodriguez as well.
Yeah, okay.
I think when we started this, we said at the start it's the worst parts of Rodriguez and Cameron put together, and that's exactly the problem with this movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a 3D CGI fest, which let's be fair.
For the most part, the CGI works.
Yeah, no. If we were to compare it to other big CGI fest films like Pacific Rim or Mortal Engines or stuff like that.
In recent years, let's go with recent years.
I actually think it doesn't do that badly on that spectrum.
No, especially compared to Aquaman.
Anything looks good compared to Aquaman in terms of CGI.
And Black Panther. Black Panther's CGI was
terrible,
not good. But one thing I noticed, and I think we had this conversation as soon as we saw it after we finished watching the movie in the cinema. I said, did you notice how every single time Alita was supposed to have a highly emotional moment, they cut away from her?
Yeah.
Every single time. Now, when in a normal film without CGI, what that means is that the director and the cinematographer do not have confidence in that actor to be able to realistically portray that emotion. When it comes to CGI, however, that tells me that they don't have confidence in the CGI to realistically portray that emotion. And that is a huge problem in something with a character that has a lot of those emotional beats.
One of the reasons the new Planet of the Apes movies work so well is the character moments given to Caesar.
Andy Serkis, yeah. His performance, again, I'm always going to say it, I think he deserves an Academy Award for Best Actor from those films, and it's such a shame that they didn't do that.
I don't think the acting of, what's her face again?
Rosa Salazar.
I don't think she's doing anything bad.
No, she is the
actually
best
really good.
part about this film is her performance, I feel, because she goes all in.
She does.
She goes all in, and I cannot, that, her performance kept me in this film.
Yep. So, and that's with bad lines as well, and bad plot at the start, which was, as I said, infantile, and I felt degrading to her character later on.
Yeah.
So what the character growth her character has doesn't make sense because of the bad writing.
Also, she becomes very weak as a female character because suddenly she is dependent on her love for this Robert Rodriguez lookalike. And it doesn't make any sense.
Is it her dependent or is it the plot's dependent? Because that's the problem.
I think it's both. Yeah. I think the plot is forcing her as a character to be dependent on this other character. And that is so weak.
I would much rather her dependence be on trying to find a foothold to make the world a better place.
Yes.
And instead it becomes about this relationship.
Especially from her position of childlike innocence at the beginning. She doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember anything about her violent past. Even though she has these urges to become violent, and I think that should have been a topic worth discussing. I think that would have made it a much more interesting film, is seeing her mentally grapple with her desire for violence and also her innocence.
Yes.
That should have been the movie we should have gotten, not this over-the-top, everything everywhere CGI crap.
So when we get to the end of the movie, we quickly realize, hang on a sec, they didn't know what they were doing with the plot, because the ending basically says, whenever there's a time skip at the end of a movie, it's like, oh, okay.
I'm okay with time skips at the end of the films as long as they have payoff.
So no,
but this had no payoff.
Usually, if there's a time skip at the end of the movie and it works, it's because they've already ended the movie
previously. Like Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
is a great example. Return of the King had a time skip at the very end where we go from, I think it's a couple of,
I mean, it has multiple
years.
endings.
Yeah. But there's a couple, like at least a year between when they get back to the Shire, when Frodo goes, I've got to leave, kind of thing. And it's heartbreaking, but the film has already ended by that point, and so you're a lot more invested in what is happening as a wrap up. Whereas in this film, it's like, we don't know what we're doing, so we'll skip time, and we get to the end, and then we realize it's not really an ending. No, it's a segue into a fucking sequel, and it's just.
Is it?
I think it has to be. They show Edward Norton at the end.
No, I think that would be the idea, but I don't think this is getting a sequel.
No, it's definitely not getting it. I hope it's not getting a sequel because it doesn't deserve it.
Actually...
It didn't even earn 3/4 of the plot points in the actual film it made. I don't think it deserves a sequel at all.
I think what is here is a good show that there is a good story somewhere out there in this universe.
Somewhere.
So I actually think...
Completely untouched by this movie.
This could make a good Netflix series. I actually think...
well, with the amount of plot points that they try and stuffed in it, it would make a much better series than a movie.
And I think there are... Even though the subplots feel in this movie jarring and... basically confusing. I think if done in a mini-series, you could actually do good comparisons between each individual subplot.
You can focus on it a lot easier than in a film that was an hour too long. It was like 2 hours and 25 minutes or something, and it was just exhausting. It felt like it was twice that length.
We should mention that there are individual moments that are still quite quality. Like
Mahershala Ali,
his death sequence is hilarious.
It's great. And he plays it up really well. I feel like he does a really great job. Because he's... but again, it defeats his character quite a lot because...
His character's nothing. It's a misuse of a character. That's basically what it is. I think there's quite a lot of that in this movie.
They must have paid him a lot to be in this film.
Also, if you're a dog lover, you might feel insulted a bit in this movie as well.
Well, that's the thing. I'm a dog lover, and I found the part where they killed that little puppy hilarious.
Yes.
Because of how badly it was done. There was no, it was very clear.
That whole sequence destroyed almost all the characters involved.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz just felt weaker than normal.
Everyone felt weaker than normal. Even Alita felt weaker.
Alita's...
she just stands there, watches it happen, and looks up. Nothing is... she's obviously trying really hard. Rosa Salazar's trying really hard, but the character is just nothing. And then she just walks up and dips her fingers in the blood.
Because it's so boring.
And then they get into this big fight. And the dog guy, the guy who owns this dog, who is... The guy who owns this dog, who is also a bounty hunter, he's got 4 other dogs or something. He comes down at the end of the fight. By the way, the end of the fight, it wouldn't have taken them that long to get down there. I'll be honest with you. It was only 3 stories down into the sewers that they were, and they were directly below the bar. So it shouldn't have been that freaking hard to get down there. Anyway, the dog guy comes down and he goes, "Sick 'em!" And all the dogs run after the villain and then they're attacking him. And then he says, "Heal!" And they come back. And he's like, "That guy wasn't a dog lover. I hate that." Come on. You couldn't even come up with a better line than that? What kind of a line is that?
It's a terrible line.
It's an awful line.
I mean, compared to I Love Dogs, that's a film for dog lovers.
That is a film for dog lovers. If you love dogs, go see I Love Dogs. Don't see this movie. This is a...
CGI. Yeah. So once again, I think we should talk about the what's the name of the sport?
Rollerball.
Because I actually
rocket ball,
rollerball, rocket ball. I found the sequences involving the sport actually quite invigorating. The problem was sometimes the plot got in the way. That Derby sequence where she's being tracked down by all those characters, it gets interrupted by plot point. Motorball. I was enjoying that sequence, and then we had to introduce the male lead into it and leave that plot point. And I was like, "This is a perfectly good plot point. This is a great plot. This would be a good movie. Stop with your other crap."
That's the thing. All of these major plots are the beginnings of some great ideas.
Yeah,
some great ideas, and they're all abandoned 5 minutes into whatever they were trying to build with them for a favor of starting another plot.
I feel like it was edited by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, the editing was shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. Most of these scenes that were edited for emotional impact made me laugh because of how bad they were.
No, they were actually funny.
There's a scene where her love interest is now a robot now as well, and
Yep.
he's like climbing up to the city because his dream is to live there, which is never fully explored. I don't give a shit about his dream to live there.
It's never.
Anyway, she has flashbacks of her time when she was attacking the city, and then she remembers there's a blade thingy that they release and comes down and kills everybody. Oh no, I must stop him! So she rushes over and is like, "Wait, don't go!" And he turns around and they stop. They stop moving instead of running the other way. They stop moving.
Yes.
And then they hear the noise, and Alita's like, "Oh no." And then there's still a couple of beats before it even gets to them. And it comes through, and then they both try and jump over it. And obviously, he's not good enough to jump over it. And he gets sliced up. And it is so funny.
So I'll say this. As soon as he is introduced at the start,
You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die.
I hope he dies in 10 minutes. He didn't die in 10 minutes. He died 10 minutes before the end of the movie.
Yeah.
If that,
yeah.
And he was a plot point character to begin with. I wish his plot point had ended a lot earlier in the movie.
Yeah. Should have ended a lot earlier. Because how do you love someone that isn't a real person? And I'm not talking about Alita. I'm talking about him.
Exactly.
He's not a real
He's not
human
an
being.
earned character. He
just exists because Robert Rodriguez wants to...
He has a side character friend who has like 3 lines, and yet he has more character than he does.
Yeah. Yeah, his side character friend was way more compelling.
And he gets sliced in half, and I felt his death was sad. This guy's death, he died twice.
Also, why did we feel the need to show that and not show the dog dying? Is the dog's death supposed to be more emotionally challenging than the friend?
It would be more emotionally scarring to me than his death, but...
I would have rather seen it on screen, though.
Me
it would
too.
have made me not laugh at how ridiculous the scene was. This film was a mess.
Yeah.
Character
motivations don't make sense here, there, and everywhere.
It's not because they don't have motivations, because they've got like 5,000 motivations and they keep switching between each one.
Yep.
Because we need a reason to know why they're doing this. No, just show us. Just, just get a backbone and trust in your medium, trust in your art, and do something about it.
She has these flashback sequences, and half the time it's right. Who's that actress who's playing her friend? Because
her friend.
The other,
because that's what's her face from Fast and Furious.
Yes,
it's Michelle Rodriguez.
It is Michelle Rodriguez.
It's Michelle, who looks nothing like Michelle Rodriguez at all. I swear, it was just I think it was a body double, and she just provided the voice. That's what it felt like. It was just that voice. Also, Jai Courtney's in this.
Yes, that was for one scene.
Weird.
It was weird.
Strange
Cameo. It's like Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2 was funny because he's Brad Pitt,
and they utilized it like
well.
Like two frames in that film. You finally realize it's Brad Pitt. That's hilarious because he's a huge star, and they're making fun of his stardom by only having him in the smallest role.
And you don't realize it's him
Whereas in this, I feel like I could safely say that Jai Courtney is probably going to be in the next Avatar sequels because he's in this movie. Because I don't know if you noticed, but Michelle Rodriguez is also a longtime Cameron collaborator.
I know that.
And also, there's quite a few other people in this film that are side characters and sub characters that are also longtime collaborators with James Cameron.
Yeah.
So I think it's just. I think it's just stupid.
Yes.
I think it's just dumb. And it's just such a shame because they did elongate the release of this for quite a couple of months before they released it. And I'm wondering why. Like, was the film that much worse a couple of months ago that they couldn't release it?
I think that there is a matter of they realized they needed to do reshoots, and I don't think they ever got around to doing them because I actually think that's what happened.
I think whoever was in charge of those reshoots probably gave up on the project before they even announced reshoots.
I think what happened was they saw it and hang on a sec, how do we even do this? And I have no idea.
Because it feels like the ending is a reshoot.
Yeah.
It feels like that was the reshoot that they were trying to get. Because Alita is just standing there with her newly acquired sword, just pointing out towards the city, like, this means something. And Edward Norton's up on the city just looking down like, ha ha ha.
I got a paycheck.
I got to pay. Yeah, I got to pay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So who sexually confused you more, Jennifer Connelly or Mahershala Ali?
Oh, definitely Mahershala Ali. That voice, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, you don't get sexually confused by Jennifer Connelly. She's sexy already. Mm-hmm. Mahershala Ali, that's the confusing one. But again, it's just such a stupid character, and I feel really bad for him because he's a great actor, and he just,
yeah, he's a great actor. So, since I think we've
covered it, that's it. That's Alita.
Yeah, that's Alita. I'm starting to think that Mahershala Ali is better than Denzel Washington in terms of as the big actor.
Currently?
Yeah, currently.
But
best also, I think
the top African American actor.
I think so, and I also think over time he will get better and better.
I agree
because I think already we're going to talk about another film soon. We're going to also discuss Green Book today, and it was going to come out soon.
Stay posted.
Stay posted. Yeah.
Be posted.
I think.
See posted.
I suspect that in the long term he may end up having the film catalog that Denzel Washington would wish he had.
I can agree with that. I think along the lines of Denzel Washington, I think once the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 came out, he's kind of just done work.
Yep.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, no, so...
And Equalizer.
No, he did Fences to show off his acting ability. And
which was good. I think that was good for him.
It is good, but at the same time, I think... In my head at the moment, Mahershala Ali's quality has... He has...
Even in his worst films, he brings just a certain quality to his performance that is... it's him. It's Mahershala Ali.
So he in this movie vaguely reminded me of Gary Oldman in Fifth
Element. Yeah. Actually, except not over the top.
No, actually, more like Gary Oldman in... What's the one with the Friends guy?
The Friends. Oh, yeah, I know what
it's
you
mean.
It's
not Galaxy Quest. It's
no. It's Lost in Space.
It's Lost in Space.
Lost in Space, the movie, which also had so many other big name casts in that film. That was such a bad movie.
It's terrible.
Gary Oldman turns into a giant mechanical spider in that film, which
yes, he does.
Was weird and poorly CGI'd as well. It was terrible.
I mean, it was the 90s. Was it the 90s?
No, early 2000s, I think.
2000s? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Doesn't matter.
So, I think when talking about Alita, you should talk about it in regards to Mortal Engines and in regards to Aquaman, this sort of movie. That's the sort of movie it is.
Yeah, it's a.
I found it more entertaining than Aquaman. More enjoyable.
More enjoyable, but not as enjoyable as Mortal Engines, funnily enough. I'm finding more and more in retrospect that film is a lot better than a lot of the movies coming out now. I mean,
everything's about perspective and relative.
Yeah.
I think
But nothing is going to beat Skyscraper for me.
Oh, no. Skyscraper.
In terms of like so bad it's entertaining and hilarious.
I don't think any of these movies are that.
No.
These movies are just CGI fests.
Bad.
Yeah.
Just bad. They're just not. They're just bad.
Yep.
They're just bad.
I don't think like anyone involved in this movie, I don't think it really shines badly on them.
No.
Even Rodriguez and Cameron,
I think it's a good debut for Rosa Salazar. I think we're going to see a lot more of her in a lot more roles that are worthy of her performance ability.
I think we'll see more of her as in we'll actually see her face.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. That would be, instead of the CGI weirdness that they would try to put on.
I just didn't work, unfortunately. I think it could have, like, that's the thing.
It could have worked. If the whole movie was CGI, if everything
they didn't commit to it.
Was CGI.
Once again, if they committed to, instead of going off her when the emotional moments are coming along, if they put it on her, but they didn't. So
if they actually tried, I feel like this film, everyone across the board just didn't have enough time to actually put in the effort.
Yeah.
Including CGI. And the CGI is good, but I feel like the CGI, whoever was doing the CGI, I think they needed more time to be able to allow them to commit to her performance. And that, at the end of the day, that's the important thing, was whether we buy the performances and the stories.
The world building is great
on.
as well. I should say the world building was top world building. So
yeah, I mean, there were some scenes where there was like no dialogue at all, and they showed something that I was like, oh, that's cool. Like the first scene where she meets the serial killers, the ones that go around killing. I don't understand.
They were
why
killing
they're doing
people
that.
to steal their parts.
But also, it turns out it wasn't them. It was the male lead that he was going around doing that
as well. Yeah.
But that was the weird thing. Like they showed him doing it, but they didn't show these serial killers doing it. And I feel like
no. So the serial killers actually kill people. He didn't actually kill anyone. He would just knock
steal
them
their
out.
parts. And then he had a change of heart halfway through, which made no sense. Because the first time we hear about this is the same scene where he confronts.
Nothing he does in the entire movie makes sense. So once again,
he doesn't exist as a character.
Yeah.
He doesn't even exist as a plot point, really, because stuff happens to him and it doesn't really phase Alita whatsoever. Like, she cries about it, but she doesn't do anything about it.
The movie would be better.
Yeah. But it's not.
Okay, so we've discussed enough.
Tough luck. If you wanted to like this movie, you can still like it.
I actually think it's one of those weird movies where I would recommend people who like the idea of a CGI fest to go out and watch it, because I think it does appeal to those sort of people.
Yeah, I guess.
If you like Pacific Rim, go and watch it.
If you like Pacific Rim 2, let's be more specific. If you like Pacific Rim 2, you'll probably find something to like in this movie.
If you thought Pacific Rim 1 was the greatest movie of all time, go watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's the same sort of people.
Again, Pacific Rim was a better film.
It is.
A much better film. A superior film to that. It is.
It is.
No,
I was about to say a stupid quote. Anyway, we are WeMovies. I'm Scotty. This is Jordan. We've talked about Alita, but we'd also like to hear your opinions.
Yes.
So please get in contact with us.
And if you disagree or agree, it doesn't matter. Just let us know. Also, shout out to Chris. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz below or on our Facebook page or Instagram, whatever, pick your poison. We'll be there waiting for you guys desperately for any sort of interaction, because we're desperate.
Yeah,
we're really desperate. But thank you again for listening, if you have been listening, and thank you for watching. We are WeMovies, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.